Happy Friday, Redheaded Step Family. It is a beautiful day here in Henderson, Kentucky, and we've got some expected news. We kind of all saw this coming. It's somewhat blatant. They're already on it. Hopefully, this will be the first time in United States history where politicians are massively arrested for election violations. I'm going to turn off my microphone and I'm going to let you guys take a listen to this, gentleman. And then we're going to take a close look at the obvious ballot tampering by bureaucrats in the state of Wisconsin.
Ramon Jackson, he is in the first stages of our tests to detect and determine cheating in every election. There's a few things that we're looking at. We need you to share this video that we know there's suspicions. First of all, Milwaukee County has 19 cities. Yesterday, in a special election, what the clerk is saying is that 153,000 people voted out of 309,000 people who voted. So in other words, they're saying 50% of the vote came out of the city of Milwaukee. So think about that for a second. In the conditions that are very similar to Detroit, yesterday people woke up and they said, you know what I need to do? Out of everything that's going on in a city like Milwaukee, they said, you know what, I need to go vote for a Democrat, but also I need to vote Republican policy. Think about it. The voter ID passed. So that passed. But yet, half of the people that came out of one city, Milwaukee, they voted for a Democrat. It makes absolutely no sense. We're watching you, Wisconsin, and now we're about to get this list, and we're going to put it through our proprietary system. Yes, the advocate Ramon Jackson, he has a proprietary system to detect and determine cheating in any election, and we can see it. It's a very, very high probability that there was cheating. Remember, there are 19 cities in Milwaukee County. The clerk is saying that half of the votes came out of one city, the city of Milwaukee. So you mean to tell me yesterday, people woke up in a special election and they said, you know what? Out of everything I can do, I'm going to go and vote for a Democrat. But I'm also going to vote Republican policy. Remember, the voter ID, that's a Republican policy. It makes absolutely no sense. We're about to get this list. It's going to be sent to us soon. And we're going to put it through the advocate Ramon Jackson's test to detect and determine cheating. Thank you for your prayers. Continue to pray. We're asking that righteousness will roll like water and justice like a mighty stream. God bless you, and may heaven smile upon you.
All righty. My voice is probably ramping back up slowly, so I'm getting from quiet to louder. Kai11111, welcome. James, I'll tell you what, James, Kentucky's good, but there are a few counties in Tennessee that have no building codes. For instance, if you were to buy an Amish-built building and had it brought onto the land, in many counties, you cannot count that as a house or a living or a dwelling. There are some places, counties in Tennessee where it's okay. It's also counties in Tennessee where there's not. So whether you're looking at Kentucky or Tennessee, definitely check out the building codes for whatever county, because they will differ 2 miles down the road in the next county over. All right, on that note, let's take a close look. Thank you very much, Kai, for the 5x5. 5x5. For those of you who are not have not been with the channel since 2015, well, I shouldn't say channel. I should say channels. And actually, including my very first channel, where I had 808 subscribers, and at the time I didn't use all the special security features for YouTube. I did have a channel taken down by somebody who broke into my channel when I started mouthing off about the left. That was my first experience. So I might be on 17 channels lost, not 16. So congratulations to me, I guess. But to get back into it, let's take a look at some documents here. All right. Here is the supposed total votes cast in the Milwaukee election for the state Supreme Court. 1.3 million to 1.0 million, with a grand total of 2.3 million. Here we have people who voted the Democratic ticket. Ooh, I can't read that one with that ends in down ticket yet, but I will, because of this white background screen. So let me move this. Okay, 1.3 million voted for Susan, the Democrat. 1.4 million voted for the Republican referendum to require an ID to vote. 852,000 voted against that measure. Let's see. Okay, that's 200,000 more than Brad Schimmel got. Now, we did learn from Mike Lindell that anytime a ballot is put in for contestant A, the machine can automatically flip it to contestant B. So we have proven in the past that if 10,000 people vote for contestant A and 5,000 people vote for contestant B, they can flip-flop the numbers 100%, so it looks like contestant A only got 5,000 and contestant B got the 10,000. So anytime you put a vote in for Donald Trump, it comes out for Harris. Okay, we've proven that those machines, the machine I just stood by when I went to go vote the other day, they're still in use. So what we have here is a bunch of Democrats who voted for a Republican referendum, and the number of I would say the number of votes in question, I would say, are because they only got 852,000 people voting. I'm sure some Democrats would vote for requiring an ID, but most of them would not, especially inside the city of Milwaukee. I would say that there's a discrepancy of 300 to 500,000 votes are problem votes that need to be looked at. 300 to 500,000 votes are in question in the last election because they don't need, if the Democrats are cheating the elections, it doesn't matter whether one of the concerns, if they're going to cheat in the election, they got to get their Supreme Court nominee. They're not going to spend the time on the ID referendum because it doesn't matter, because they're in control of the machines. It doesn't matter if the whole world, it doesn't matter if no illegal aliens show up to vote on any given election day, because we know the machines will automatically flip votes. A vote for Trump becomes a vote for Harris. A vote for Harris becomes a vote for Trump. So the final numbers belong to the opposite contestant in that race. So what we have here is a big faux pas, because they should have flipped the numbers. They should have taken the time to program the machine to pay attention to other boxes on the ballot. They only focused on the Supreme Court ballot. And if I was going to donate $1 million or honestly, even $1,000 to any given election, would I ensure my money's worth by cheating? If you're going to, George Soros put $50 million into this race, and he knows he controls the ballot box. Do you think he's going to put $50 million in without taking advantages of the weakness of the machines? It's not going to happen. He's going to do it. The whole point is world domination. So, and very rarely does George Soros spend his own money. What he does is he will start an NGO with $100,000, $300,000, $500,000, $1 million. And then that NGO is granted public money, and that public money is used against us. The state below Wisconsin, the state just north of me, Pritzker is the governor of the state of Illinois. He is the highest ranking politician. He is a politician. He works for the government. He owns 63 NGOs. What's NGO stand for? Non-government office. So the guy who holds the highest office in the state of Illinois owns 63 non-government offices, all of which are freaking ridiculous, and all of which the top 8 to 10 paid people at each NGO make over. The minimum is $450,000 or $435,000 a year. So and there's probably, like, for instance, his buddy from high school or one of his kids are on the board of 10, 15, 20 of those NGOs. So they're collecting government money in 10 different jobs that they never show up for. So Pritzker's slutty daughter, she's a slut, no questions there, very slutty woman. She's like 20 years old, 22 years old. She's on the head of the, and by the way, all the shots that were administered in Illinois were run by Pritzker's NGOs, 2 or 3 of his NGOs. So every time somebody got in line in their car with their mask on and got a shot in the arm out the window of their car, Pritzker got $300. So Pritzker's slutty daughter is on the head. Let's say she's on the board of 4 NGOs, let's say 10 NGOs. And at each one of those NGOs, she's paid $400,000 or more each year to do nothing. So she's collecting $400,000 times 10 every year. That's how the NGOs work. That is what Doge is going after right now. And I would like to say something before I guess I could take these down. I am going to say something that I think is probably the most important point, the most important thing that we could keep our eyes on, is that it appears that bureaucrats and politicians are challenging the Constitution, let's say, for instance, the Second Amendment. Now, they have all these crazy rules in different states. In California, you can't even have a gun unless you're a movie star, a rock star, or a politician. You can't get the permit to carry one. All of these challenges to our laws, and specifically in this case, the Constitution, they're not challenges to the Constitution. They're violations of the Constitution. For a senator to stand up and say, we need to outlaw this type of gun, it's not a challenge to the Constitution. He is suggesting war on the Constitution. And that is why we have the Second Amendment. I'm not suggesting any type of violence, and I never will. But I do want to point out that we are so far past the point of initiating the actual reason we have a Second Amendment. And we sit here because we know it's messy, it's it's not the way we want things to go down. We don't want to have to go out and shoot bureaucrats and politicians who are violating the Constitution of the United States. We don't want to have to do that. But we are very well inside of our rights. Now, will the cop that arrests you for protecting the Constitution agree with you? No. But who controls him? The people who are trying to disassemble the Constitution. As soon as any politician stands up and questions the validity of any part of the Constitution, he is not challenging it. He is violating it. He has bought himself a ticket to the Second Amendment takeout club. He should expect when a politician stands up and questions the validity of any part of the Constitution, they should expect to be shot. They should anticipate. They should know that it's going to come. But the reality is that we're all too much pussies to invoke our Second Amendment rights. And by no means am I telling you to do it. I'm just pointing out the obvious, that there are dozens, if not hundreds, of politicians that legally, based on the words in the Constitution, can be shot for the words that have come out of their mouth in violation of the Constitution. And I don't want any of you guys to go do that. I just want to point out we are way past that line in the sand. We are miles past that line in the sand. We've been miles past that line in the sand in most states since 1970s. But it gets worse and worse every day, and these politicians get more courage. It's beyond courage. They have no fear whatsoever to stand up and violate Section 9 of women's rights in sports, or Title IX in women's rights in sports. They have no fear of that. But they should fear that, because violating that title of the Constitution invites you to be subject to the Second Amendment. And it's not like we need a judge to tell us that they violated the we saw them do it. We got it on our phones. We screen grabbed whoever politician saying we need to outlaw this, we need to outlaw that. That itself is all that. We don't need a judge. We don't need to go to a D.C. court where ironically the Chief Justice of D.C. has gotten every Trump case landed in his lap when they're supposed to be dispersed randomly. That, again, is a violation of the Constitution. How is that judge walking around? How is he still using our oxygen? Because we're pussies. We don't have a Constitution if we don't protect the Constitution. And we don't protect the Constitution, therefore we don't have a Constitution. You don't have the right to free speech because you won't protect it. You don't have a right to make a cop show up at your front door with a search warrant because you don't protect it. It's just a piece of paper if you don't protect it. These politicians and these bureaucrats, we won't have a Constitution until these politicians and bureaucrats fear challenging, aka violating the Constitution. And it's at this point where the men of this country are so inundated with estrogen, it's never going to happen. And I'm not telling anyone to do it. I'm just pointing out the obvious. Okay? You're all too old. I'm too old. It doesn't need to happen. And if it ever does happen, it needs to happen by somebody who could put a hole through a paper plate at a quarter mile. That's simple. And none of us can do that. But there are a lot of paid government employees that can do that. And they are well within their rights to assassinate a politician or bureaucrat who has violated the Constitution. That's what the Second Amendment is for, and nothing else. You don't have a Second Amendment so you can hunt. You have a Second Amendment so you can protect the Constitution. Woo! I'm just pointing out the obvious. Okay, we got to look up Doug. Johnny, up, it sucks. Honey Bunny says same thing happened here in Colorado with the presidential election. Trump gained no traction, but Republicans in the other seats won big, and we voted red down ticket. They're also saying that the Republican Party itself does not want to mess with this Wisconsin problem, that they're kind of ignoring it. So I just wanted to bring these things to your attention. I do want everything to end peacefully. If by chance in the next 18 months or 19, 20 months, we're 70 days, 75, we're under 90 days in. So we got 21 months to arrest and prosecute a lot of bureaucrats and politicians. And it's best if it goes down that way, because that way, historically, the records can remain accurate and truthful. It's more important that Nancy Pelosi is brought in front of a military or a civil judge, civilian judge, and brought to justice than having to do it the dirty, messy way. That's my opinion. That to keep the integrity of the history of the United States, because if it just becomes one big Second Amendment, people exercising their Second Amendment, we're never going to get our day in court. We're never going to be able to point at Adam Schiff and say you're guilty, because he'll never be brought to court, because he won't be around to be brought to court. It's more important that Eric Swalwell be sentenced for giving information to the Chinese for being a traitor to this country than for us to do it. Now, at some point, that's not possible. And in the next election cycle for president, if by chance, which we most likely will, if the Soros family still exists and is walking on our soil, we will be a communist country. Even if there's paper ballots, there's 100% chance we will be. And at that time, it's Second Amendment time. If they steal in the next election, I'm going to be the first one up and doing it. I'll tell you that right now. I don't care who's with me. I'm going out in a blaze of fucking glory when the commies take over our country. And there's very little chance. And here's another important point. We got 19 months to turn. You know what? I did have a video I wanted to show, and it was one of those Tesla places. And this is very important, very, very important. Please hear these words. There was two people that were being interviewed that were Democrats. They were speaking common sense. They understood the same problems we have, but they were clearly under the directive of the network news. So they were getting false information, although they agreed with a lot of the same issues that you and I agree upon. That is why it is your job. The most important thing you can do before we worry about the Second Amendment is we got to change those people's hearts, and none of those people are related to you. They are strangers out in the street. Here's what I can guarantee you. That this weekend, if you go out this weekend, if you go shopping this weekend, if you go hang out at a park or have a picnic, more Democrats will look at you than will hear my voice. If I get 10,000 views on this video, more Democrats will see you than hear me. So you need to take advantage of that. And you need to find a billboard you could put on your back. I don't care if it's from the Red Pill t-shirt shop. It doesn't matter. But I make those shirts because I understand you have a better chance of catching the eye of a Democrat and planting a seed with a few words than I ever will here. I'm preaching to the choir. You're out in the wild. You walk into Walmart. That's why I made that ICE shirt. That is selling very well. Everybody gets the joke. You walk into Walmart with a dark navy blue t-shirt that says ICE on the front and the back, and you clear that Walmart out. There are people running the fuck out of that Walmart, which happen to not speak English. But I guarantee you, and what that's actually called is omnipresence. What you're doing there is also planting a seed. The more you keep them nervous and paranoid, the less comfortable they are, the less they want to stay here. So if every man in America wore an ICE t-shirt, let's just say the Polacks, all right, I'm Polish, I could say that. Just the Polish guys in America wear a t-shirt tomorrow that says ICE on the front and the back. That shirt will be seen by illegal aliens, and that will make their butt cheeks perk up, okay? And that's the point. That's omnipresence. You're reminding them of their problem. You're making them think you are the problem. That's why cops go park in the middle of a shitty neighborhood, in the middle of an apartment complex, because they know all the crack dealers got their crack next to the toilet, waiting for somebody to break in so they could flush it. The cop has no idea who has the crack, but they know that somebody's got the crack. So if the cop just parks there all night in the middle of the parking lot, he's going to have the crack dealer up all night watching the window, waiting for somebody to bust in. And that's not a nice way to live. Nobody wants to live that way. So using t-shirts like ICE, that's not going to gain us any votes. But the Democrat for Trump's t-shirt does. Somebody asked me when I did that video a few days ago, sometimes I do videos that are meant to be seen by Democrats. The videos that I make, I beg you guys to repost, okay? Especially the ones that where I'm talking to Democrats. They said in the questions, they said, "Red, you're a Democrat?" And I said, "I'm a Democrat when I'm talking to Democrats." Okay? Up until Donald Trump, I voted Democrat my whole life. I would have joined the military if I didn't hate George Bush Sr. so much. If I didn't know he was such a piece of shit. I didn't want to go fight and die in his war because I knew what his war was about. So, for instance, if you wear if I don't have one, but if you're man enough, if you're comfortable enough in your sexuality, where you can wear a t-shirt that says "Gays for Trump," you're going to make gay people think about Trump. You just planted a seed that's going to grow all night long in their head. And at some point, they're going to see the light. But you got to be the one to put the pinprick in that veil of lies that they are behind so they can see the truth. Like I said, I'm preaching to the choir. It doesn't matter what I do here. I cannot make as many changes on this channel in this world than you can make by using your back as a billboard to convey a message to people that have to vote Republican in 18 months or we lose it. We lose the House and we're going to lose the Senate. If you think I'm wrong, sit, wait, and watch. So you got to be active. The best thing you can do for your country is find a way to be active. They're all dirt cheap. You don't have to use mine. You can go to Teespring and make your own t-shirt. You could put any message you want on it. And then you could price it. There's a minimum you could price it and sell it to yourself. Buy a sample, they call it. Shit, you could market. I mean, Dale Earnhardt Jr. is selling t-shirts for $40. $40. I'm selling them for 19, man. I'm not trying to get rich on this. I'm trying to save my damn country. But I know nothing that I say goes past the ears of Republicans and patriots. And remember, a lot of those Republicans and patriots are transgendered. Wait till you hear I'm going to put out a short of one of the smartest, politically smartest people I've ever heard speak. She's a full-blown lesbian. And you're going to say, I'll vote for her. I'm voting for that one right there. She can call herself she can say she's part of any party. She's one of the smartest things I've ever heard come out of anyone's mouth politically. And I'm going to share that with you in a short here on this channel. But we do have gays, we do have Muslims, we do have Jews, we do have Christians, we do have transgender people in this Trump movement. And we need more because it's got to be too big to fix. And we got to make it bigger. They got all the money in the world. They got millions and millions of dollars for the next election. They just spent $100 million on one stupid state Supreme Court race in Wisconsin. But you could do more damage with a t-shirt and a smart message. I'm sorry, but I'm so passionate about this, and you guys don't understand how much stronger you are than I am. I mean, I go out and I wear the shirts every weekend. Every time I go to the store, I got a shirt with a message on it. I've got every shirt I ever made except for 2 or 3 I bought. And I put them on. I'm not trying to sell your t-shirts. I'm trying to make t-shirts for me. And in the process, a lot of people have bought the t-shirts. And it's not about my t-shirt. Go make your own t-shirt on Teespring. You can do that. But if you're going to do that, the less words, the better. Try and keep it under 10 words. If you put a whole paragraph, nobody's going to read it. The highest selling t-shirt I ever sold was above 700. It was bad news. The bad news is I wasn't vaccinated in blue. And then below it in red, it says, the good news is my car keys don't stick to my forehead. That made people think. People who were vaccinated took their keys and put them on their forehead when they got home and they were alone. That's what I need you guys to do. That's what I need the whole fucking movement to do. We have to turn them to the light side. And all we need is a t-shirt, and you're never going to turn your mom, you're never going to turn your brother, you're never going to turn your grandma, okay? It doesn't matter. Trump's brother doesn't think of Donald Trump as president. He thinks of him as his brother. Donald Trump can save the world, and Trump's brother's just going to be like, no, that's just my brother. He's a goofball, blah, 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 blah. So your family's never going to, no matter what greatness you do in this world, your family's never going to recognize you for that. So don't worry about your family. Worry about strangers. Be careful, Red. Don't start rage smoking. Just got here. Worth going back. I should cut it short. Peace and love worldwide. Live your life before your life lives you. For those of you who are going to join us at the redheaded step stacker family reunion, I have not looked at those emails yet. I will look at those over the weekend. I have been sick. Today was my first day back to work. I just made it 6 hours, but I seem to get the fever and all the sickness comes at night, and I work at night. So during the day, I'm somewhat okay, and then everything falls apart the later it gets after midnight. So peace and love worldwide. Live your life before your life lives you. Somewhere in the post section of this channel, you'll find a link to go to the t-shirt shop, probably to a specific t-shirt. But when you get to the t-shirt, click at the top where it says Red Pills t-shirts and flip through them. I don't care if you buy my t-shirt. That's also the same website. You can open your own account and make your own t-shirt. But please, get something on your back. Be a billboard. We really, truly only have 18 months before the next chance of us losing our republic. And they're going to do everything. They don't care. They don't care. They stole 300 to 500,000 votes in Wisconsin. And they left evidence on the table by not changing the referendum votes for the ID requirements in in Wisconsin. They did it messy, and they don't care. So it's got to be too big to rig, and it's got to be bigger than it was before, because they're going to come back with more fake votes than they had last time, because last time they didn't have enough. So please, go change somebody's mind, go change somebody's heart, go plant a seed, go poke a veil in the veil of lies that our countrymen are on the other side of and trapped. We know they're trapped. We hate them and we feel sorry for them at the same time. Much love, guys, and many blessings, everyone. Kai gets the last word. Vitamin C is recommended. And Andy says he. Peace and love worldwide. Live your life before your life lives you. Keep on smiling.